Originally when I was reporting on all this Greta Thunberg stuff and her flotilla antics, I was trying to explain to our audience how what she represents is not a cause for humanity and justice, but something that's unconscionable. It is an anti-Semitic genocidal ideology that she's a part of. But now I'm just appreciative of the entertainment value. There's been so many things that have happened that have just completely not gone to plan from her end in her flotilla. But frankly, it's gone from from a failure to just absurd and ridiculous. First, we learn that she's having these internal squabbles, so she had to move off from one boat to another. Then we learn that they made these claims that Israel was lobbing drones at the flotilla, and of course that was nonsense. And then we learn that Hamas have been directly involved with the organization that was involved in the flotilla. So trying to pretend that this is just about some humanitarian cause is nonsense. This is, but now we have images of the IDF going on board the flotilla. Obviously, they were going to stop them and say, no, you're not coming into Gaza. They did, however, say that they are prepared to distribute the aid that there was on the flotilla. The one problem, though, is that they didn't have any aid. Watch.
I'm sure you guys can guess where I am because it's pretty much an empty room. That's right, I'm inside one of the vessels, one of the largest vessels to come in this Yom Kippur flotilla. And while we're processing this boat, there's one thing missing, guys. All this aid that they were supposed to bring into Gaza, which explains one thing to me, I'm sure it explains to you, that when we and multiple other countries offered them to take this aid and bring it to the Gazans, we could facilitate its safe arrival, they flat out rejected it. And now we know why, because it was never about bringing aid to Gazans, but it was all about the headlines in the social media file.
It's all about the hatred towards Israel. No humanitarian aid, no medicine, no food, no supplies of any kind, just cameras, activists, and Hamas propaganda leaflets. Once again, not an aid mission, but a stage stunt to delegitimize the Jewish state. This is the moment Israeli forces boarded one of the jihadist boats. Have a watch. Oh, you love to see it. You love to see it. And here is Greta in her frog hat. In her keffiyeh. Giving her jackets and water. Oh, these Israeli Nazis are terrible. Really terrible. Here we see, by the way, and this should raise a lot of eyebrows for those who think they're just human rights campaigners, they're throwing their phones overboard during the interception of their ship. Captain Nikos, MEP Rima Hassan, and the rest of the crew threw their phones overboard. Why would a member of the European Parliament be afraid to have her phone checked, one may wonder? Well, it's because they're direct collaborators with Hamas, that is why. Indeed. Now here is Greta Thunberg, who put out a message saying, I've been abducted and taken against my will by Israeli forces. Happened just a few months ago, didn't it, Greta? And what did they do? They made you watch some footage of October 7th to see if maybe you might just get some moral clarity, which you didn't. And then they put you on a plane to go back to where you came from. Terrible. That sounds just like kidnapping. Sending you back home. Isn't that the opposite of kidnapping? Also, nice necklace there, by the way, Greta. That is a lovely necklace of the land of Israel. The land of Israel, from the river to the sea. The land for the Jewish people. Divinely ordained.
My name is Greta Thunberg. I'm a citizen of Sweden. If you are watching this video, I have been abducted and taken against my will by Israeli forces.
How dare you?
Our humanitarian mission was non-violent and abiding by international law. Please tell my government to demand my and the others' immediate release.
Well, I don't know. Maybe Israel should say we're not releasing Greta Thunberg until the hostages are released. That would turn the tables. But here are some of the details anyway. that we now know about the Navy's operation to block the Sumud flotilla to Gaza. Number one, this was an unprecedented operation in scope for the Israeli Navy, okay, which had never been before dealt with a flotilla of such size, 42 vessels entering Israel's territorial waters. The decision was made to first seize the 6 main ships and later chase the smaller ones. Each vessel required a boarding operation to land forces. 2, forces inspecting the dozens of vessels in recent hours found that the so-called humanitarian aid on board, allegedly meant for Gaza, was extremely minimal. Despite the large number of 42 ships, the humanitarian supplies were negligible. A security source said tonight this proves the entire event is purely a provocation, and that's how it should be regarded. More than that, it shows that the whole solidarity campaign with the Palestinians is a propaganda campaign against the Jews. It is simply the latest mutation of anti-Semitism. Number 3, an unusual incident occurred during the flotilla. After Shayetet 13 completed its takeover of one of the ships in the morning, the vessel was en route to Ashdod port with both fighters and passengers on board when the yacht began sinking and tilting due to a major technical failure. The Shayetet 13 team called for backup and began safely transferring the passengers. The yacht eventually sank. Curious. I wonder why. Number 4, the commander of the Israeli Navy, Major General David Shah Salama, personally commanded the takeover operation from one of the Navy's ships at sea, alongside other senior commanders. All commanders remained at sea throughout the night. 5, so far searchers have not uncovered any weapons on any of the flotilla's vessels, not even cold weapons such as knives or clubs. 6, alongside the naval operation, a special IDF spokesperson's operations room was set up overnight and into the morning. Unlike in past incidents, extensive photography and documentation equipment was deployed at sea to capture the event from multiple angles. Some fighters were equipped with body cameras. The footage was streamed live to the operations room to enable real-time distribution via the Foreign Ministry. In the pre-operation briefings, emphasis was placed on preventing legitimacy incidents, knowing that flotilla participants themselves would be live broadcasting the event. And there you can see some footage. So sad that Israel's not just fighting a genocidal enemy, but fighting a worldwide campaign to delegitimize it through fake news, and therefore it has to fight in that sense as well by capturing everything. Of course, very smart, but just shows the absurdity of what Israel's fighting. As Neo Berg posted, the clown flotilla just announced a hunger strike in response to getting intercepted. Well, all of Israel is fasting for Yom Kippur, so you're in great company and no one cares.
Hi, so we're currently getting circled by the IOF, and a few of our vessels have been intercepted. And so here on the Mohammed Bahar, we just want to say that when we get intercepted and we are held illegally in Israel and Ashdod port, we three are going to engage in a hunger strike.
Okay, I can't even watch any more of this. I have to ask, they say that they're being kidnapped by Israel. Look at the smirks on their faces, okay? And as they claim they're being kidnapped by this genocidal, Nazi-esque state of Israel, in their words. Jews were kidnapped on October 7th by real genocidal, Nazi-esque governmental organisation, Hamas. They did not have smiles on their faces. They did not seem calm and poised as they sent messages to the world. What's true has become false, what's false has become true. And as the prophet said, woe to those who call good evil and evil good. They're talking about these people right here. Look, at the end of the day, the whole thing that's going on here is farcical with this flotilla. But frankly, I think it should remind all of us, as Jews and people that support Israel, that actually the whole anti-Israel Palestinian campaign is farcical. It's a lie. It's based on a lie from beginning to end. It is just the latest dressed up version of anti-Semitism to suit the modern age. So we should give it the kind of laughter and cynicism and satire that it deserves. That is how we should look at it. No more being intimidated by the lies and libels thrown at Israel. Let's just instead look at it with a smile on our face and say, we're not going to be intimidated by your lies and nonsense. What you're saying is ridiculous. And it's time for your understanding of history and morality to be revised. Frankly, you have to go back to kindergarten. Before we wrap up, I want to share something important with you. The entire anti-Israel movement is built on one central accusation, that in 1948, Israel stole the land, and ever since, Palestinians have simply been resisting. But what if everything we've been told about this story is untrue? What if the real history of 1948 shows not Arabs being forced out, but Jews, while seeking peace, having to fight for their survival against a genocidal enemy that willed its destruction long before Israel's re-establishment? Have a watch of the trailer for our new, groundbreaking and essential documentary entitled What Really Happened in 1948. And if you want to see the full film, just click the link in the video description. In 1948, the world witnessed the rebirth of the Jewish state, the State of Israel. A moment celebrated as a miracle of survival and self-determination after centuries of persecution and the horrors of the Holocaust. Yet for decades, this event has been twisted into a narrative of theft and catastrophe, with the so-called Nakba portrayed as Israel's original sin, where Jews allegedly stole Arab land and displaced innocents in a premeditated act of ethnic cleansing. But what if this story is fundamentally inverted? What if the cause and effect are the other way around? Not Israel aggressively seizing territory and Arabs responding in self-defense, but Arabs, driven by deep-seated hatred, rejecting the Jews' legal and historical rights to live in their ancestral homeland and waging a genocidal war long before Israel's re-establishment. In this JTV Plus documentary, we're going to uncover the unvarnished truth about 1948, the centuries of pogroms and anti-Semitic violence that set the stage, the Arab leaders' explicit calls for extermination, and the defensive war Israel fought to secure its existence. We'll challenge the pervasive lies head-on, showing how Arab rejection of peace wasn't about creating a Palestinian state, but about denying Jews the right to live at all. From the Nazi-allied leader of the Arabs in Palestine, the Mufti al-Husseini, to the forgotten occupations by Jordan and Egypt, where no Palestinian state was even considered, this is the story of a conflict rooted not in displacement, but in whether the Jews deserve to live in their homeland. Join us as we debunk the myths with facts, confront the historical record fairly but firmly, and reveal why 1948 was not an act of aggression, but a righteous response to annihilation. This is what really happened in 1948. To watch this JTV Plus documentary and access much more premium content, click on the link in the video description.